There are so many things I love about living in Southern California, from the weather to the beaches to the mountains to the fabulous properties. Did I mention the weather? But then there are also some of the not so great things like the cost of living, earthquakes, high winds, and fires. And earlier this week, we had several catastrophic, devastating fires that broke out in Los Angeles County that are still burning. And it brought up so many questions inside of me, and I've had so many discussions with clients, family members, friends, asking, okay, what is your plan? What would you grab? Where would you go? All of those types of questions. And it then also led me to ask, well, I have homeowners insurance. What exactly is covered? How does that all work? What do I do? And I didn't know the answers. So I decided to contact a trusted resource, a agent broker, or a insurance agent broker, and I interviewed him, asked him all the questions that I've had and that clients have had, and recorded that in a Zoom call, and you are going to see it right here. Now, of course, if you have any other questions about it, let me know. Definitely comment below with your questions and we will get answers back to you right away. And of course, I'm always here to make living in Southern California and living in Orange County the best experience possible. So please feel free to subscribe and like this video. And here we go to the Zoom interview with me and Mo Haggag. I wanted to talk to you. First of all, I want to say thank you, Mo Haggag, who is an insurance agency owner, for coming on with me today to discuss a question that I've had and that I'm getting from so many other people with these crazy wildfires that are happening and destroying parts of Southern California right now. Kind of wanting to understand what we need to know about what's going on with fire insurance, what people can do to prepare, all those kinds of things. So I guess the first question though, or first of all, Mo, welcome.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
And I would love for you to just share your background really quickly, how long you've been in the insurance game, all that good stuff.
I've been doing insurance for a little over 13 years now. I was a farmer's agent, but I started my career with AAA actually.
Okay.
I worked with them several years, then became a farmer's agent, built that agency, sold it, and I now own an agency here in Mission Viejo. We are called Cali Insurance Pros. If you ever have any questions, feel free to look us up and give us a call. We're glad to answer any insurance-based questions.
Okay, awesome. And we'll definitely make sure to include your phone number so that people can reach out to you in the description so that they know how to get a hold of you. My first question that kind of popped into my head, if I were to be evacuated, which by the way, I have been evacuated. It was about 20, gosh, it's been 20-ish years ago that my husband and I were evacuated from our brand new construction home that we had only lived in for about a month. We were kind of fortunate because we were actually at the beginning of the fire. So there was a lot of fire prevention. There were tons of fire trucks and all hands on deck. Suddenly then 2 or 3 other fires broke out and those areas, didn't get the assistance they needed. Needless to say, we were able to move back. We were evacuated for about 2 days and then we're able to go back to our house. Luckily, no damage.
Very fortunate.
Yeah, we were incredibly fortunate. But that was also 20 years ago where fire insurance was not a problem. And I've been noticing this year and the year before, but especially this past year, attempting to even get fire insurance for clients when they're trying to buy a home is like, I don't know, an act of God, brain surgery.
It's not easy right now. It's not easy. All the major carriers are not writing in the state.
Okay.
And to give some background for your viewers, this all started because they froze rate increases right as COVID happened, which made sense at the time, right? And they understood it. The insurance companies understood, there's less people on the roads. We shouldn't be increasing rates. We're making money. We're profitable. They actually gave money back to people in a lot of cases, but it continued after COVID. And up until just last year, they didn't allow rate increases, but they found out why they're necessary. Small rate increases, people can stomach. Okay, but large rate increases, people start to ask questions like, what's going on? And that's unfortunately where we are right now, is they needed large rate increases to make up for the years of no rate increases.
Okay.
And this event is a big one, and it comes at a very bad time. The California Fair Plan, which we'll discuss a little bit more, uh, they came out and publicly said that they have about $200 million of surplus in their bank accounts and 2.5 billion in reinsurance. What we're seeing right now, the government will have to step in because that, yeah, that it's got to happen. And I think Biden has already announced that there's some relief coming. But what does that mean? Is it relief for, the people that lost their homes? Does it come in the form of a loan? And there's so many questions that we still don't know the answers to. But I'll let you ask a few of your questions because you had some really good questions, and I'd love to give people more information.
Okay, awesome. And because I don't like to surprise people, I wanted to give Mo some of my questions so that he could be prepared for
Yes.
them. So I guess my first question was, if someone gets evacuated from their house, I know that every policy is different, but what in general are they entitled to according to their policies?
Most policies, and I can't say all policies because every company is different. And with insurance, you really do get what you paid for. If you found a super cheap home policy, there's a reason for it, right? Most policies do have additional living expenses built into them. Okay, so number one, first and foremost, get out and get out safely. We can always replace stuff, but we can't replace people. Um, get to somewhere where you're safe and you've got a roof over your head. Keep every receipt possible. But events like this, they're going to be so overwhelmed with the claims and the amount of claims that are coming in, and they're going to need to build the catastrophe teams and put it all together to assist people. So, in the meantime, you just get out. You should have additional living expenses in your policy, but keep all your receipts and you'll be reimbursed.
Okay, which thank you. You're kind of leading into another one of my questions, which is, okay, so I've been evacuated, I've potentially gone back to my house and I see that it's no longer there, but I call, my insurance provider and there's, a 4 hour wait. Do I wait 4 hours? What should I do? Should I wait a couple of days, or is it early bird gets the worm type of thing?
No, so there's no like, we've run out of money, sorry.
Okay.
But one, this is going to be different for everybody. Some people are going to want to wait and get their claim in. A lot of companies have the system where you can press that button and hold your place in line and you'll get a call back, but that works sometimes. And it's okay to wait a couple of days and then call them and say, I couldn't get through. Okay. It's going to be different from case to case, and every person is going to want to handle it a little differently. Some people are going to just want to step back and, whoa, what just happened? And other people are, let's go, let's get it going.
Yeah.
But a lot of people aren't going to realize that let's get my claim going. It might help get you some financial help,
Okay.
but it's not going to expedite getting your home back up and where it
Okay.
was. You've got to go through permitting. There's just so much that has to happen to get you back into your home at this point.
Okay. Because again, as a realtor, I guess, obviously we understand that, I mean, people own, if you own your home, you owned the land it sits on and the structure. So now, and that's what we have homeowners insurance for, because even though now your lot is essentially rubble, it's still your land. And
Oh
then
yeah, and if you
they
had a
need,
mortgage, you still
so
have a mortgage.
yeah. And so people are going to have to go through the permit process for every home. Like even if it was a tract home, each individual house is going to have to go through a permit process now, right?
All of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, sorry, there's just so many questions that
There's
come up.
so much to
Yeah.
dissect
And
here. I mean, we could
so
spend hours talking about this really.
for sure. And then so you'd mentioned contacting them, I guess, about your expenses right now, because obviously, as I've seen in many pictures, we even have one of my husband's colleagues from work that he just sent a video of his home in Altadena and, cars that were destroyed. So obviously you suddenly, let's say hypothetically, you have your car insurance, your homeowner's insurance, all of the same company, I would imagine those insurance companies are now going to be getting calls about, the car was destroyed. And is
Yeah.
that something covered in a fire? Does that fall
Yeah, so
under
that's separate.
our
The
insurance
car's
or?
insurance covers the car, the home's
Okay.
insurance covers the home.
Okay.
But you said Altadena, I just filed a total loss there for one of my clients who lost their home in Altadena.
Yeah.
I did one in Palos Verdes just yesterday for another client, another person that was renting in Palos Verdes, just filed a claim for them. So we're getting it from everywhere, all over LA right now, and that's scary to the insurance carriers.
I
Uh,
bet.
we're holding our breath right now and seeing what's next.
Yeah. Because, okay, so you're filing a claim and you're saying a total loss. Now, and again, you're saying, okay, keep your receipts. So hypothetically, how long, obviously, these people are going to be displaced for months, if not years.
Yeah,
And
so each claim has to have an adjuster attached to it.
okay,
And right now, like for example, today I filed that claim. They told me 24 to 48 hours before we assign an adjuster.
okay,
That adjuster that they assign is getting assigned one after another. So 24 to 48 hours before they contact you or before they have your information. That's one piece of that question. But it's just such a big event that we don't expect anything to happen fast.
okay. So, I mean, people are going to potentially have to dip into savings and stuff like that because, I mean, again, I know even just getting a hotel room these days is not cheap.
It's not cheap.
And not to mention if there's even accommodations. And I know from again, kind of always in my real estate mind, last night I was just looking at the map and thinking of all of these people in a relatively localized area of LA. I mean, it's obviously spread out, but there are so many people that lived in those areas that suddenly have no place to live. And where are they going to go so they can stay sort of close? I mean, are they going to come down to Orange County? Are they going to go out to the Palm Springs desert area?
Will be
Where
people
are
that
they going to
are going to
go?
have to relocate. So a lot of the elderly will be relocating. And that's what we typically see because most of the people that are still middle-aged and working need to stay somewhat near their job if they need to be going into a job all the time. So
Mhm.
again, it's going to be different from case to case here, and every single claim has to have an adjuster tied to it. I just
Okay.
pray that people get good adjusters because that's how you get things moving along.
Okay. And so again, I guess a person's first process would be, or first step, once they've kind of maybe the shock has worn away, is to call their insurance
Contact the
agent
insurance
or
company,
their
file
insurance
the
company
claim. Yeah.
so
I
that
would
you can
recommend
start the
you try to
process.
file the claim as soon as possible
Okay.
because you want to get an adjuster on your claim right away.
Okay. And I guess this kind of leads into it and you sort of answered it, but again, how long do you anticipate that it's going to take insurance companies to actually come out to the house? Again, so hypothetically, it's going to take 48 hours to even get a call from the adjuster.
Yeah. So they will fly and bus people in to assist with this process from other states. It
Adjusters.
happens at this is a catastrophe event, so
Okay.
they will bring in additional help. But again, because of the scope and size of this, there's no way I could really give a solid answer on that. It's going to take weeks,
Just to get the adjuster out to your house.
and
Okay.
in some cases, it will take longer than others, unfortunately.
Yeah. And
And in a lot of cases,
is there a
what's going
particular
to happen
reason? I'm sorry, go ahead.
yeah, in a lot of cases, what's going to eventually happen is they will get satellite imagery and
Mm,
see if your house is burnt to the ground. Well, let's get the debris out of there and get this thing moving along.
mhm.
Uh, but in other cases, they will have to go out there and see, okay, can we salvage, right? Do we have to take this thing down and rebuild it, or can we work with what's here still? So again, it's going to be case to case and just depending on what happened at that plot of land.
Okay. And I guess that kind of, so they do actually do the removal of,
Yeah, you have debris removal built into your policy.
okay, that's good to know. And then at least with most policies, your original kind of floor plan is what is agreed upon in your policy to rebuild, right?
Yeah, so this is where hopefully you have a good agent that keeps up with
Okay.
you because I like to talk to my clients at least once a year where I'm
Okay.
touching base with them and asking them simple questions like have you done any renovations or upgrades to your home? Because a lot of times people will do it and then not tell us about it, and we can't cover what we didn't know about, right?
Okay.
We can cover what we had, but that's why when we're doing quotes, we do go through and ask specific questions about the home and upgrades and any changes or differences from what we see in our systems.
Okay. So, and if you have made those changes, but you haven't called, it would be a good idea to do that, even if you have receipts for them and
If
stuff.
you have receipts for it and you can prove it, they will sometimes honor it. But here's the caveat, okay? Typically, when you've made an upgrade or put an addition on your home, it's going to cause additional premium because you have newer things, nicer things, bigger things, right? So if you call afterwards and say, hey, I didn't tell you, but 3 years ago I put this addition on my home and here's all the receipts for it. Well, they could tell you that's not part of what was covered when this happened.
Okay. Okay, good to know. And you kind of already went through the process of filing a claim. So whether you have a specific individual like you that you would call, or if you have USAA or Allstate or whoever you have your insurance through. And we kind of talked about, again, if you can even get through to insurance companies right now, that's going to be hit and miss.
So I'll add this real quick. This is where your insurance company matters. Okay. If
Okay.
you have to call an 800 number, you're having trouble getting through, you're finding out you're getting what you paid for, right? Having an agent that can walk you through this, that can get you closer to getting things done, it is invaluable. But you have to have an agent for that. If you have an 800 number, it's different than somebody that's really advocating for you and that you have a relationship with. When you call the 800 number, you're going to get somebody different every time.
Yeah.
That you get what you paid for.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah,
I guess it's kind of the same in real estate. Like, again,
absolutely.
you have an agent that's representing you well, you kind of get what you pay for. So,
Exactly.
what you choose. So this is kind of a guesstimate for you, a question, but how many of the homes destroyed do you think don't have fire insurance? Because I know that it's been really challenging and or expensive to get it. So what is your estimate?
70,000 homes in Pacific Palisades were non-renewed by State Farm. When that happened last year, I sent out thousands of mailers to that area because we have a company that writes in brush, and as an Allstate agent I have access to that, whereas other agents may not. um, Several of the people that we quoted told us that they can't afford these new prices and they
Okay.
would have to self-insure. It's hard to put a number on your question, but I'm gonna say no less than 10% of those homes probably did not have insurance.
Of those 70,000.
Yeah.
Okay. And I don't even know, is
I,
it,
I, I almost guarantee it'll probably be higher than
yeah.
10%.
Yeah, because the interesting thing that I've even found with working with clients when when they're not able to get fire insurance, when they get their homeowners insurance estimates, if they're paying cash, then they don't have to. If you're getting a mortgage, they're like, no, sorry, we need
You
our
have to,
investment,
absolutely. If you have a loan, they want to
sure.
protect their asset.
But if you are an existing homeowner that, I mean, I even, again, this is because I don't know the answer. I wonder if those people, those 70,000 people, if they have mortgages, if then their mortgage company would find out that they don't have fire insurance anymore.
Mortgage companies will force place insurance on a home if it doesn't have coverage. And
What does that mean, force place?
that means they will just find a company and put an insurance policy on it. Now you have
That
no
they pay
control
for or
over
that
it.
you have to pay for?
Oh no, they're charging you for it.
Okay.
Yeah, they're going to pay for it, but they're going to charge you for it on your mortgage. So when
Okay.
you make that mortgage payment or you see your mortgage payment jumped up, that's probably what happened. We get that call all the time as well because people will let things lapse and not check their email or mail sometimes, and then it lapses and then they get force placed and they have to call us for insurance. Those policies will usually cost you more than calling us for an insurance quote, but also they have huge gaps in them and they don't cover the home completely. They may be smaller in liability coverage or not have enough coverage to rebuild a home. So that's the other side of that coin. They care about how much you owe them, and they want to protect that.
For
But if
sure.
it costs more to rebuild your home, it's on you, buddy. You didn't get insurance.
Okay. And I know that I've had several clients, again, that because the fire insurance was so expensive and it took longer, it was a longer process, but they ended up getting the Cal Fair plan. So tell me the difference, or, and tell everyone that's watching, what's the difference between a private fire insurance policy and the Cal Fair plan?
Okay. But
Certainly all of the areas where
Palisades. I mean,
fires, Altadena.
I'm going to try to say nothing but good things about the California Fair Plan.
Okay.
You get fire coverage through the California Fair Plan, and that is all that policy covers you for.
Okay.
If you get the California Fair Plan, you have to get a secondary policy called a DIC, or a wraparound policy, difference in conditions. That's what DIC stands for. So it covers everything else other than fire. Okay.
Okay.
Those two together form a home policy. But because you're only covered for fire on one policy, and then you have other coverages on another policy, we sometimes will find gaps in coverage. Okay. So what that means
Even though
is
you have that wraparound? Oh,
yeah,
wow.
because wraparound policies will sometimes have exclusions in them, not give you the whole kit and caboodle.
Yeah.
In order to pass the insurance companies, the way they underwrite things right now, it's a lot of underwriting that they have to jump through to even allow them to write in certain areas, right? So they'll exclude certain things in certain areas and then allow certain things in other areas. And I can't tell you how much of a mess this is. So that is not the best way to insure your home. But the alternative to that is having to get a non-standard carrier, which covers brush areas and high value homes, right? Basically anything over $1 million of rebuild is a high value home. Okay. We have
Pretty
several
much
of those.
most of California, or a lot of it. Yeah.
Most of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the LC has so many of them. This is going to be the straw that broke the camel's back, I think, because the amount of homes that were just lost, I don't think they've publicly announced it, but I think the Fair Plan might be bankrupt right now,
Okay.
just off of what's
Because of
happened.
these homes or because of before?
Because of what happened, just
Oh,
everything that just happened. This has to bankrupt them. They came out and publicly said they have $200 million or 250, somewhere around that range. But that, I mean, you think about the number of homes that just went. That's
that's
gone.
100 homes. In some of the areas of Pacific Palisades, that's 50 to 100 homes.
Yeah. So the Fair Plan does have limits. You can only get coverage up to 1.5 million.
Oh, so if you have a $5 million home, then you've got
You
to
have anything over 1.5 million rebuild cost, and you're rolling that dice, which is something a lot of agents will allow their customers to do just to get the business.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a problem on your hands now, because
Yeah.
as an agent, you allowed this to happen. You better have documentation, and they must have signed off on something that says you're not liable and you understand you get $1.5 million worth of coverage. Because agents, you can come after me, right? You can say, hey, you sold me that policy. It went up to 1.5 million. You didn't tell me it was, I'd have to come out of pocket if it's more. So you come after my insurance at that point, and yeah, that's a whole another mess that we could talk about later. But
Wow.
that's where I think this is going to go really bad. Even
Okay.
at 1.5 million, the number of homes, it's just the math isn't mathing, and there's going to be assistance coming in. I know Biden has already said something about helping California during these fires. They said 100% of the, here, let me pull it up so I don't misquote it.
And again, everyone, if you want more information about real estate and insurance, subscribe. We'll have lots of fun educational videos like this.
For sure. And I'd love to come back on and answer some more questions if you ever need.
Because I have a feeling this isn't going to be the only time.
There's going to be a lot of changes coming because of this, and people are going to need help navigating, because I truly think this is going to be the beginning of a lot of changes that are coming for California. But he did announce that 100% of disaster relief efforts would be covered for up to 180 days.
What does that mean?
We just don't know what that means yet.
I was going to say, what does that
I have
even mean?
no idea what that means yet.
100% of disaster coverage. Well, and so here's another interesting question I have, because obviously land in Pacific Palisades is worth more than land in San Bernardino versus, you know what I mean? Like the areas. And so I may or may not have been looking at house values, maybe of some celebrities who have unfortunately lost their house. And I mean, some people have 2,600 square foot homes that you build them somewhere, it would potentially cost only 1.5 million, but they're paying for that lot of land. That's
No,
but I'm saying when they paid 6.5 million dollars,
right. When they paid for the house, they paid for the plot of land.
Exactly. When hypothetically, it might be able to actually be rebuilt for 1.5 million.
So,
or is the 1.5 million based on what the appraised value?
The only thing that your property insurance covers is the structure. It does not cover your land at all. That's why there's no coverage for land movement, because that land, we don't cover that.
Yeah.
Anything coming from the outside of the home or anything that's outside of that structure is typically not covered.
Okay. So I mean, so some people, again, you know, it could be possible you may not have as many of the overly luxurious finishes, but the structure itself, especially, you know, a 3,000 square foot house could potentially be built for 1.5 million, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why we do those replacement cost estimates that you guys ask us for all the time. Yeah.
Okay.
We're covering the home and the structure and the materials and labor and all that stuff. Anything else is just you decided to live there because that beautiful beach is right there.
For sure. Okay. And I know we've been taking a lot of time, and I want to be cognizant of your time. What is the most important thing that someone should know about their homeowner's insurance policy?
That is a loaded question because there are several. You should know your policy inside out. I tell all my clients, know your numbers, know what you have covered and what you don't have covered, or what you're covered up to, so you understand what it is you're dealing with. I also tell people, don't wait to get your quotes or start the process. If you're shopping for a home, insurance should be at the forefront of your shopping. Always look at a map. See if there's mountains nearby, it's guaranteed to be a brush area. And there's a lot of beautiful communities that are I mean, it's in the middle of all the brush, but
and it's the views.
Paying for what you want. We're paying this cost to be in California. The best thing I can tell you, get to know your agent, get to know your policy.
Okay. And obviously too, right now, if you're not a fire victim, I believe I recall this before when I once wanted to make a change to my policy because I think it was during hurricane season or something. And when I called the insurance company, they said, we aren't making any changes to policies right now. So, I mean, if a person could even get through that's not a fire victim, there's a certain time frame.
Right now, we're under a moratorium for all of Southern California. I mean, down to San Diego.
Okay.
So when the moratorium lifts, we'll be able to help out a little bit more. But we're getting a ton of calls for quotes right now. And it's because people have put this off and now they're scared. They're like, oh my gosh, there's fires everywhere. What if one starts near me? And so, yeah, people are trying to get their insurance in place again. But this is when insurance companies are like, no, hold up. Let's wait a second, take a deep breath, see what's happening and what we're going to do next.
For sure. And we had talked about the California Fair Plan versus a private insurer. And I know that you've helped clients find that private one.
Yeah.
So tell me the difference between that and why potentially that is a good product maybe for them.
Yeah, because so what you're referring to is called the non-standard market. Okay. And that just means that the Department of Insurance did not give them permission to operate under the Department of Insurance in California. However, they can sell insurance in California. They're just not admitted. Now, the big difference is if you have a problem with your insurance company and you want to complain about them, you typically go to the Department of Insurance to make that complaint. If you go to the non-standard market, you can't go to Department of Insurance because they don't regulate that company. So you have to take it up with them, or you would have to sue them, or whatever the case may be there. You have to deal with them directly, and you can't get help from the Department of Insurance. That is the biggest difference. That being said, there are some very reputable companies out there that do this insurance. Okay, I'm
Okay.
sure we've all heard of Chubb. The Chubb doesn't write in California right now. But Allstate has a company called Northlight. They write in brush and they specialize in high value homes in brush. So that would be an opportunity for an agent like me to provide a quote for something like that. But again, they're non-standard. You having an agent though gives you somebody that you can go to that can be an advocate for you. Okay, so
Okay.
that's where the biggest differences are.
Okay. And then also obviously to make sure that when you have your homeowner's insurance policy and your fire, that there isn't that huge gap like you
There's
were
no
talking.
gaps. There's no
Yeah.
gaps. You get you know exactly what you're getting with that kind of policy. It's an HO3 policy that covers you for liability, fire, water, and anything else that can happen at your home.
Oh, so instead of getting like just your regular, so you're getting your whole policy through that
You're
non-standard.
getting one policy through the non-standard.
Okay. Okay. Makes sense.
Yes.
Awesome. Again, thank you so much for your time. One last question. And I know that when I asked you to even, take some questions on this, it's how is this going to impact insurance in California? And that, I mean, and if you think it's going to impact other states, how do you think this is going to change insurance?
There's a lot of questions around this right now. This is not something that we've really seen before on this scale because of where it happened. Um, there's gonna be changes. We were heading towards coming back into the state after the next property rate increase was allowed. I'm not sure if that's the case anymore. And the way the fire exploded and how fast it spread, it terrifies the insurance companies.
For
But
sure.
the biggest change is going to be rates. Rates are going to go 100%, and they've already gone up. So people that are already complaining about these rate increases, the thing I hear most is, well, I don't live in a fire area. Well, did we consider Santa Monica really a fire area, right? Did we consider Altadena, the middle of Altadena, a fire area? Not really. And these things happen, and if the winds are strong enough, it doesn't matter where you
Yeah.
are. So
Yeah.
until they figure out this whole brush thing and how to clear it, and California diverts water to California and not offshore because of a tiny fish, we've got bigger issues that we need to handle. And I hope this kind of opens up a few eyes here in California, because the people making the rules are taking us in wrong directions, and we're really starting to see that now. And a
Yeah.
lot of the people that advocated for these same people are starting to speak out against them now, because guess what? They were just affected by this.
Yeah.
So you'll turn on your TV and you'll see that the same people that were pulling for these people are now speaking out against them, and they're celebrities that are doing it. So there's going to be a lot of backlash, a lot of changes will come from this. I would expect at least one resignation comes from this, but
And you're thinking like the Department of Insurance.
it goes beyond that. The
Oh.
mayor in LA and our governor need to take accountability for what's happened.
Wow. Okay. And at least so you don't think, because just to make everyone clear too, on the self-insure term, that means if anything happens, you're
You
paying.
buy
for it.
insurance, yeah,
Yep.
that you're paying, you're going to rebuild out of pocket.
Exactly.
You get
Which
sued, you're on your own.
yeah. And I mean, do you think it will come to that, or do you think no, there'll actually be changes in the department so that these companies can? Because I mean, me personally, from a business perspective, these insurance companies, it makes no business sense for them to insure homes in California. Why? I mean,
They're losing
they're in it
billions
to
of
make
dollars.
money, and they're not making money on California houses.
They're losing billions of dollars.
Yeah.
And just because they're profitable in other states and their numbers are good in the stock markets doesn't mean they're going to let California drain them.
Yeah.
So I don't anticipate that, insurers and carriers are going to start rushing into the state because they're allowing bigger rate increases, because even with the bigger rate increase, you think about if your home costs you $5,000 a year to insure, okay, even 10 years is 50 grand, right? How long do they have to take 5 grand from you to get back $1 million that
Yeah.
you have to rebuild your home with? So there's a lot of questions about what's going to happen next, and I honestly don't have that answer, because we're holding our breath and hoping for the best.
Yeah. Wow. Well, Mo, I really appreciate all the information and the insight. Tell everyone how the best way to get a hold of you.
Yeah, you can call our office 949-582-9252. You can text that phone number as well. You can email me directly, mhaggag@allstate.com. You can find us online, Cali Insurance Pros. If you Google it, you'll find us.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, Mo. Of course, if you're looking for a realtor in Orange County, you can always contact me as well at 949-444-1601. And if you want to see more videos with information about insurance, real estate in Orange County, all that good stuff, subscribe and follow us for more information. So thank you so much, Mo.
Thank you for having me, Leslie. I appreciate it.